Hey, Patrick, how you doing today, bud?
Not too bad at all. So, what have you for me today?
Warren Smith talking about the State of the Union address.
I actually watched that live. Actually, really, really interesting. Really long, but really, really well put together.
I
Really
thought it
well put
was
together.
thought it was well put together too. But he has some opinions, I think, that we need to discuss his perspective and perception of it. So we're going to let him cook a little bit, and then I will stop as we do, so we can interject. Here we go. Got to stop it right away. So we have seen in the algorithm for the right-leaning algorithm before we go to ground news, Epic Times, and all that stuff. There's a lot of Trump outsmarted everybody. Trump caught the Democrats. Like there was a lot of that. But it seems like in this instance, there was some political showmanship that was pretty keen here. And Warren's going to go over it and give his viewpoint. But then I wanted to add something to it. So we're gonna watch him do his thing here. So here we go.
I remember watching this particular moment live,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really well put together. The way he teed it up, as they would say, very well done.
All right, here we go. So if you'll notice, he had a America and Ukraine flag. It
Yes.
seems like a lot of the Democrats and even Republicans as well are wearing little tags so you can like see affiliations and stuff like that. It's starting to remind me of a thing called NASCAR. Do you know what NASCAR is?
Yes, I've actually watched a bit of that over the years. It was really enjoyable. It's really a lot of fun to watch.
Right, it's like the
I
rally
know a lot
car,
of
the
yeah,
rally.
a lot of
Right, right,
Europeans. Yeah, a lot of Europeans.
right. So the thing is on those vehicles they have all kinds of ads for businesses and things, right? So it looks
Yeah,
like
I see
our
that.
our political leaders are slightly NASCAR'd up. Like it looks like they've got some sideline support, right? Like
Okay.
super PACs and all kinds of other support groups that are like, hey, we should believe these things and we should wear a little badge that shows that we believe a thing, right? Or it feels like, I don't know, maybe somebody's paying somebody to wear it. You know what I'm saying? It feels kind of disingenuous. It really
Well,
does.
that's always been tradition in American politics. I remember over the years watching them wearing different badges of senators and congressmen.
But normally it's not the flag of another country, right?
Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. You're an American.
It's
Maybe an American flag would be the thing to wear. Like, I understand that you support
I've
a
seen your
thing.
politicians on Paddy's Day wearing an Irish flag.
That might be different on March the 17th, sir. All right,
Yeah.
here we go. Right. So we're watching a thing earlier where one of the representatives was worth, I don't know, $30,000 or $40,000 in their bank account and total holdings, and now are worth over $30 million in a space of less than 4 years. Right.
Yes.
And I believe they said that I'm not worth this, but when you look into it, their spouse is worth much, much more than they're saying. Right? You can look at my
And
records, right? But
I find that being quite an excuse. By the way, across the board on both sides of the aisle. Oh, this is how much I'm worth. But then when you dig, as you said, dig into it, our husbands and wives apparently are multi-millionaires all of a sudden out of
right,
thin
very,
air.
very
A lot of
strange.
this.
Well, then you have people saying down with millionaires, and you're like, but you've got millions of dollars. So are you saying down with yourself, or is
Yeah.
this just showmanship when you should not really be saying a thing that's
They
anti
call it
yourself?
what they call it virtue signaling.
Big time, big time.
Yeah.
Right. So
Is
that's
that, I'm thinking of Bernie Sanders
right. Well, this is
when
Elizabeth
Bernie
Warren, and she does much the same thing.
yes, but Bernie Sanders in particular, he's always on about the working class. He's
We should
always
have
on
a
about
single payer system. We
and
should have
all
a
this.
single payer system over here. Yeah, no, we
I
should.
remember he was debating one guy. I can't remember. He was a young man. in a college debate. College man asked him, "So are you willing to give up all your hundreds of millions? Are you willing to give up everything you have?" And he
Ooh.
just, it did not go down too well that way. He did not give a very nice answers.
Well, when you ask other people to sacrifice and you're not, it looks a little suspect. This here's Elizabeth
Yeah.
Warren. She said a lot of strange things
Yes,
as
and I do
well.
remember this particular. Yes, this particular lady is worth. Oh, sorry, her husband is worth quite a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. Mrs. Warren is worth a lot of money. All right, here we go. Yeah, if they disallowed insider trading, or if Congress was literally not allowed to engage in the stock market, it would be a good show of face to the American people. It really would be. Josh Hawley. Josh Hawley's a
I think it'd
big
be
one on
common
that.
sense. Common sense.
Yeah,
If
if
you're
you,
voting in the laws that directly affect financial market, you should not be allowed insider trade whatsoever.
of course not. Yeah, yeah, 100%. All right, here we go. Yeah, her husband is worth hundreds of millions. In fact, there are stock trackers that track what Nancy Pelosi is buying in the stock market, and almost anybody who's gotten involved as far as buying the stocks that she buys when she buys them, they're doing well, doing very well.
Yes, I actually remember reading Reddit of all places. I was looking up a financial story, and that the way it comes up in Reddit, and I just clicked into it. And I was reading it, and then I looked deeper into it. And I was going, "That is such blatant insider trading. It's just
Yeah,
crazy." If some young lad in Reddit can figure this out, surely the authorities can figure this out.
right.
Just yeah,
So it's like
it's just so
it's
big.
a neon blinking sign that says they're doing bad stuff. No, they're not. They're not. Yeah, no, they're doing bad stuff. All right, here we go. So he's talking about immigrants who have committed violent acts against children in our country that
Yeah,
could have at least possibly been prevented if we'd had stronger border control and if we had not released those who had violent contact back out into the public, and if they had been appropriately released to federal authorities based on the Federal Supremacy Act. It has to do with sanctuary cities releasing people before federal agents can get there, causing federal agents to have to go to places where they are once they're released, as opposed to an easy handoff for those who have final removal orders that cities, state, county functions are just they're not allowing them to hand them off, right?
yeah. You were saying in some cases they actively
Yes.
under federal.
Mm. Yeah, they send them out OR, which is own recognizance, as opposed to having them go through a bail process or anything like that, because they don't want the federal government to pick them up. And it's been shown that this is happening. Factually, this is a thing that's happening, right? It's a direct violation of the Federal Supremacy Clause. If I have an administrative order for a final removal and you as a city, state, county agency decide not to adhere to that, then you're in violation of federal supremacy, because you know that there's an administrative warrant functionally to remove them because their final removal order has been in place for some cases 10, 12, 15 years, a very long time, but they just let them go. And by just letting them go, they're putting bad elements of society back out on the street, which it's preventable. And I think that's what
It
he's
is.
trying to say. It's preventable. You've chosen not to prevent it because you're virtue signaling or whatever it is you're doing to show that you're morally on higher ground. You're morally on higher ground when in fact you're
Yeah.
not.
No, crazy.
Right. So that's provocative language that he's using. But the thing is, it's a
Yes.
reasonable thing to argue, right? We are attempting to prevent ills against the American citizens. And if you don't support this along with what is appropriate federal supremacy, then you're failing not only people, right, but even more specifically your own constituencies where you are, right? He's showing
Yeah.
here's how you're failing, here's specifically how you're failing in this case, and you're failing the people who have elected you to office, right?
Yes.
And that's
That's the most important. That's the most important
right. It's pretty damning. It's pretty
point.
damning.
Yeah. Especially when you see them sitting there, and I've just noticed. I've noticed through my own watching of the State of the Union, even the clips that he brings up there. They're seeing a lot of badges called FIs and
Right.
all
I
this
saw
kind of
that. I'm
stuff.
like, so what you're saying is that specifically you don't
Now,
think that there's a federal law enforcement agency who has
don't
jurisdiction and
don't get me wrong. What I'm going to say is I can understand the sentiment around ICE at the moment. ICE is a necessary evil. It's not. Don't get me wrong. That their training is very, very minimal is the word I could use. But overall, the premise of ICE is a good idea.
right.
Could
But
their
I
training be a hell of a lot better? Yes. That's-
right, the training could be better, but understand that a lot of federal agencies get post-certified peace officers from other jurisdictions and places who decide as a career move to go into ICE. So they have the basic police function training, right? So, like, say in the state of California, they'd be post-certified as an 830.1 peace officer, right? Or
yeah, but
830.2 or 830.5,
but
depending upon the kind of peace officer they
what I'm
are.
talking about, what I'm talking about are new recruits, with no background, in law enforcement, 48 days training.
We're going to have to verify
Now,
that before we say that's a
no,
thing.
I actually have I have the facts up here, but it's
Okay,
actually
well, yeah, we'll put them in
from
the
their own training manual.
right. We'll put them in the show
No,
notes for sure. We'll put it in the
yeah.
show notes for sure.
But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, the idea of ICE, no matter what, how lacking their, the idea of having some agency like ICE, very important in every country.
Right.
Now, I understand why they're shortening their training period down because they needed thousands of officers.
Right. And on top of that, the Department of Homeland Security has 3 agencies within them that perform the
Yes,
function: Border Patrol, ICE.
and so
So,
on.
all right. So there's different trainings for different kinds of things they need to do. What their function is, if it's patrolling the border, internal investigations, external investigations, tracking things down, whatever, right? So I
Yeah,
don't know that your badge carrying ICE agent is only doing 48 days. Those might be
yeah.
administrative type
I
functions. I
actually said
don't
you
know.
on the report.
But we'll put
There
it in
you
the
go.
show notes. No, we'll put it in the show
Yeah.
notes. Well, for
No,
sure.
the, the,
So
re- the reason why, by the way, it was 12 to 16 weeks training, and then with another 6 weeks on site training, then back and forth. The reason they shortened it was one, because they needed thousands of officers, which
oh, you're
is,
gonna say the Trump is 47, so it's 48 days, that one?
yes,
Ah,
yeah,
I don't know about
yeah.
that. But the thing is, a
No,
lot of
that's nothing.
times,
No,
well, but a lot of
by the
times
way,
with go ahead.
also yesterday, in front of your own Senate committee, there was also a former ICE training officer brought in front. He was questioned about ICE, new ICE training,
Mhm.
and it was exactly the same. That's why it was shortened down to. The reason why it's shortened down to originally down to 47 days was Trump being the president.
Right, but understand
At the end of the day,
a lot of these trainings are Monday through Friday training. But
yeah,
if you include all the weekend days in there, you're going to get closer to that 12-week period with straight training
no,
through in 48 days.
it's 47, 8 days. That's it. Off you go. Then you put it with a training officer for another 2 weeks, and that's it. And the problem is, I understand why they're fast tracked it. I completely understand why they did it. But you also run the risk of things going wrong,
Too.
especially when firearms are involved. Or training
Absolutely.
is that bad. Now, I understand. I understand if you have already prior experience in law enforcement or military
Mhm.
when you do 2 weeks training, which is fair enough as well because you already have the experience.
Well, you have a basis to understand the function of what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah,
But if normal guy off the street has less training than a guy in McDonald's, it doesn't look well for your agency in general.
makes sense. That does make sense. We will go over that, but we have other things to concentrate on here. So let's get
Yeah.
back to Mr. Smith. seems like a very reasonable thing to say because that is the
Yes.
function of the government. So I've just given you a premise, right? It's a syllogistic reasoning problem that the Democrats here will fail, right? So the first
Yes.
premise is that your job as elected officials of American citizens is to protect the
American
rights of
citizens.
those citizens, right?
Yes.
That's pretty straightforward. So let's watch them fold it up one more time. And then they're failing to show, right? So
Yes.
he's showing.
He set them up. Yeah. And to be honest, very well done.
Got a whistler in the crowd. Ooh, he's loud. Or she. Shocker, they haven't stood up yet.
No.
Yeah, they're saying that it's not our business or our job to represent American citizens by not standing up. They're saying, no, that's not my function. My function is something other than what I was specifically elected to do.
Democrats, if they ever want a chance to win any majority, well, again, is that at least a few of them should have stood up. Because what he's saying is not wrong.
Right.
Even if you don't like, even if, as you were saying there, even if you do not agree with everything Trump.
Right, but if you stand up, then you're agreeing with Trump on anything, right? And again, we have a two-party system, and they have othered each other so bad that if you stand up and support your own constituency by saying, yes, you elected me to protect your rights as citizens, like they can't even do it.
No.
So,
and it's kind of sad that it's gone to that stage that no matter, even if Trump stood up there and said, I'm going to end world hunger tomorrow, he'll still sit there. Because, as you said, it's Trump. They're crazy. Absolutely crazy they've gone to that.
I'm not saying Trump is a great man. What I'm saying is that he is right here, and they should have stood up. Like,
yes.
All right. All they can do is wait for it to be over. That whistler's super loud. Ah!
He's right. All they have to do is sit there and take it.
Oh, there's her F ice button. Yeah, she's mad, man. She can't stop herself. So, in this chamber, the thing she's doing right now, her and her neighbor there, like that should not be happening. We should have a certain kind of decorum. And if you disagree, then you should do something after the fact. This is a State of the Union address. This is the president doing the thing that is to be done, right?
Yep.
And if you don't like it, you should not be screaming, right? Because you're just showing your ass. You look like a crazed person here. You're screaming and yelling like
I saw one on her. one other senator being removed actually during this, and he stood up in roar and shout with a sign. That's all he did, and
Got
was
escorted
finally
out.
removed, and that was it. She's sitting there roaring and shouting and
Yeah, the sergeant of arms,
losing
the
them.
sergeant at arms
Yeah,
should be removing that.
yeah,
That is not appropriate. Like, you should be escorted out. But the other thing for political theater just makes Trump look better if she's screaming and yelling. It's like, look, she can't even control herself. Like, what are you acting?
yeah.
You're acting like a
I
child.
understand. I understand it's a State of the Union, but it's also kind of a stage as well, stage play in a lot of ways.
All right, here we go. Wait, don't they do that in Ireland? Don't you said what? There's like
Yeah,
three forms of, you have to have your forms of ID.
you have to. Okay, first, everyone in Ireland knows you get your voter card. But when you go down to your local, wherever you're casting your vote, you have to bring one form of a photographic ID,
Okay.
your PPS card, driving license, or a passport.
That seems
Most people,
reasonable. Hold on, hold on.
yeah,
It's an Irish election that
yes,
concerns Irish citizens, your people and your culture and your way of life. And you just need to
yes,
show that you're a citizen and you have the right to vote in that election. That's reasonable.
yes,
That's
yeah.
reasonable.
Just bring down a form of photographic ID.
I'm going to ask all the people in the cheap seats, does that seem reasonable? I'm looking back behind me. There's nobody there. But yeah, they
Yeah,
agree too. Yeah, they think it's pretty
I was,
reasonable.
I was going to ask you, but you're saying over there you don't have to bring any proof ID, do you?
It's different state to state. It is different state to
Right.
state. The states who have a larger contingent of illegal aliens uh, don't really have those kinds of restrictions. And a lot of it has to do with the Electoral College and seats in Congress are based on bodies, not citizens. Right. So roughly every 890 to 900,000 citizens has a representative in the House. And there are 330
Yeah.
million people. It tends, I believe it's about 432. And then we have Puerto Rico's got a representative, but not an elected one. They're like protectorates have a voice, but they don't have a vote, right?
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. So, but the more bodies you have
Yes.
when they do the census, then you get more power, right?
But I think his ID, voter ID, it'll be common sense because most countries that I know
It's
of,
reasonable.
yeah, have it. The one that doesn't. In Europe, yeah, pretty much most countries I can think of in Europe have to have ID in order to vote.
Makes sense. All right.
Yeah,
Here we
pretty much common sense, really.
here we go. Yeah, that's a wrap on that, dude.
Yeah,
So the people represented by these legislators should be the ones who are voting for those legislators. It shouldn't be a question.
Yeah,
right?
that makes sense. As I said, most European countries have some form of voter ID in order for you to vote. I was just surprised that it was a thing over there. I'll be honest. Very, very surprised.
Very strange. And it wasn't an issue until functionally the late 80s when we had a huge influx of. So we'll let him finish up his little bit here. Then we'll get ourselves concluded as well. I agree with him. I agree with
Yes,
him for sure, 100%. So,
especially when it comes to voter ID. It's very, very important to have that basic structure in place
well, the
across.
problem, you lack all integrity if that's not the case. And the reason you'd
Yeah,
want to lack integrity, the only possible conclusion syllogistically is that someone wants to cheat. That's it.
yeah.
That is the obvious conclusion. Anything else for the good of the people, Patrick?
No, as I said, they could watch the full state. I'll leave a link actually for the full State of the Union
It's actually
after the
pretty
show
good.
notes as well. Actually, very well put together, very well done, very well.
Yeah, Warren Smith is pretty amazing. I'm pretty impressed with him
Yeah,
as an
that's actually,
entity.
as he said, that's probably one of the more key sections in the State of the Union. But there was other sections as well. But as I say, I'll leave link the full State of the Union in show notes, as it would say.
Right, and we'll leave the this video in there as well. So, all right, for Patrick McCallum, I am Alex Johansson. Like, ring the bell, subscribe, help us beat the algorithm. We are out.